This Negro is about to go where he belongs. A prison cell. For life. Officer Dunlap barked, not even trying to lower his voice. You want us to teach you how to speak like decent people, you damn Negro? Or would you rather keep babbling like the slave you are? Laughter from Officer Samuels echoed through the courtroom. Bet in your neighborhood. This is an upgrade. Pictures, lawyers, a real event for the wall of your cell, right next to your fake diplomas. No one stopped them. The judge flipped through papers indifferently. The prosecutor didn't blink. The gallery murmured, but no one spoke up. Marcus stood tall. His suit was flawless, but the red marks on his wrist betrayed the violence behind the scene. He didn't flinch. He didn't answer. He just stared straight ahead. 3 days earlier, it had begun. Marcus had parked outside a bakery in the Fist One district, wearing a tailored suit, carrying a briefcase and confidential documents. He had a meeting across the street. His watch read 8:47 a.m. 2 officers saw him from squad car and decided something didn't add up. They approached, asked for ID. His name made them suspicious. His car seemed too nice. "This your car?" Samuels asked, already doubting. "Doesn't match your face," Dunlap added, before shoving Marcus against the hood. His protests were calm, respectful, but ignored. They cuffed him, threw his briefcase in the trunk, and drove off like they'd just nabbed a criminal mastermind. At the station, the taunts escalated. "He must be new to the game," someone joked. Marcus asked to call a lawyer. They told him to wait. 3 days passed in silence. No charges, no rights read, no explanation. Just blank faces and smug smirks. Now in court, they mocked him again. "In that accent, you think you're English now?" Dunlap sneered, stepping closer, as if he were a prosecutor, not just a witness. "Closest this guy's been to Europe is watching soccer on a stolen TV." Still, Marcus said nothing. Samuels nudged him. "Nice tie. Public defender give you that." "I don't have a public defender," Marcus replied coolly. "Oh, of course," Dunlap scoffed. "Private lawyer, yacht in Miami, yeah?" The gallery chuckled. Only a woman, black, maybe in her 50s, quietly stood and left the courtroom in tears. Marcus saw her go, but said nothing. "Look at him," Dunlap said to the room. "Acting like he's somebody. But he's got a record longer than my arm." Still, Marcus stood silent. Inside, the storm swirled. Outside, he was stoned. Samuels leaned in. "You should be grateful we brought you in alive." The word struck like a slap. A few people shifted uncomfortably. A reporter paused her typing. Then the door creaked, and one noticed. Except Marcus. "You nervous now?" Dunlap asked, circling him. "Expecting your gang buddies to break you out?" The judge still flipped pages. The prosecutor still said nothing. Marcus blinked slowly. Then finally, he turned and said, calmly, "Are you finished?" Dunlap squinted. "You're lucky this is a courtroom. That tone wouldn't fly outside." Marcus nodded. Samuel smirked. "When this is over, you'll go right back where you came from. Doesn't matter how you dress or talk. You'll always be nobody." A hush fell. Marcus turned to the judge. "Your Honor, I request the confidentiality order on my identity be lifted as authorized 2 hours ago." The judge blinked, startled. A man in a dark suit near the prosecutor's table gave a small nod. "Confirmed," the judge said. The laughter stopped. Confusion rippled through the room. Dunlap and Samuels looked at each other. Marcus stepped forward. His footsteps echoed louder than expected. He moved to the center of the room, opened his recovered briefcase, and pulled out a folder. Inside, a federal badge. "I'm Marcus Delroy. Federal Credential 746C. I lead classified investigations under the Department of Justice, Organized Crime Division. Until 48 hours ago, my identity was protected under federal order due to an active operation." Gasp spread. Samuel's face drained of color. Dunlap stepped back, sputtering. "No, this is fake. This is some kind of trap. I was detained without cause. Held for 72 hours. Denied contact. Denied rights. Subjected to harassment, threats, and racial abuse by officers Dunlap and Samuels of the Philadelphia PD." The man with the dark suit stepped forward, handed a thick folder to the judge. The judge skimmed it, then hesitated, pale. "Extraordinary hearing initiated under Article 17, federal jurisdiction." the judge announced. Effective immediately, all recording is prohibited. The cameras shut off. A reporter whispered a protest, but no one responded. Marcus turned to the judge again. I request immediate proceedings against Officers Dunlap and Samuels for illegal detention, obstruction of a federal operation, abuse of authority, and aggravated racial misconduct. Dunlap stammered. I didn't know. I didn't know who he was. But it was too late, and they hadn't seen anything yet. You don't need to know who I am to treat me like a human being, Marcus said, without turning to face the officers. The man with the dark lapel pin stepped forward, placing a thick-sealed folder on the judge's desk. Agent Delroy was working undercover in a federal investigation. His unlawful detention jeopardized a classified operation and his life, he stated firmly. Samuels went pale. No, yes, the man confirmed coldly. From the back of the courtroom, two agents, unmarked, clearly federal, approached Dunlap and Samuels. Without a word, they identified themselves and began cuffing the officers. The same metallic click Marcus had heard 3 days earlier now echoed. Only this time, it wasn't on his wrists. You can't do this. I've served for years. I've got a family. Dunlap protested. He does too, came a voice from the crowd. The African-American woman who had left earlier had returned, tears in her eyes. This time, tears of pride. Samuels was silent as he was led away. Dunlap resisted, but a stern order made him freeze. The judge didn't strike the gavel. He simply watched, overwhelmed. Marcus remained still, centered in the courtroom where just days ago he'd been humiliated. Now, silence reigned. During my detention, he said, voice steady, I was denied legal contact, held without charges, and subjected to verbal abuse, all based on my skin color and appearance. He turned to the public. Not for any crime, just for how I looked. A few nodded. No one interrupted. The man with the pen continued. We've submitted body cam footage and phone logs, calls that were ignored, directly to the Attorney General. The judge, still shaken, gave a slight nod. Marcus took a breath. I came here to fight organized crime. But the most disheartening part wasn't the criminals. It was realizing that men with badges felt safe mocking someone they believed powerless. Like the uniform gave them permission to strip others of dignity. Samuels sat slumped between agents. Dunlap, handcuffed, avoided eye contact. I'm not asking for an apology, Marcus said. I want a precedent. So next time a black man, Latino, or anyone is detained without cause, they don't have to wait 72 hours for their humanity to be acknowledged. The judge finally lifted the gavel. I order the preventive detention of Officers Dunlap and Samuels and authorize immediate federal oversight in this matter. Court is in recess. He struck once. Marcus didn't smile. He closed his briefcase, turned, and walked out without a word. 2 weeks later, the Philadelphia Police Department building was tense. No press, no statements, but everyone inside knew the feds had arrived. An internal investigation had begun, targeting not only the two arrested officers, but procedures, altered reports, and long-ignored complaints. Washington was watching, and behind it all was a name whispered in the halls, Marcus Delroy. He didn't return to the courtroom or speak to the press. No interviews, no statements. He returned to his federal office in D.C., picked up his files, and resumed his work. But in high-level meetings, when abuse or racial profiling came up, his name surfaced, not because of what he said, but because of what he did. In Fist One, the bakery that had been closed that morning reopened. The owner, who had silently witnessed the arrest from his window, now displayed a sign by the register. Don't judge by appearance. You don't know who someone is or what they've survived. The other officers who stood by and laughed weren't charged, but were reassigned and forced into ethics training. Some resigned. The badge began to feel heavier. And while Marcus never said it out loud, one thought stayed with him. I wasn't the exception. I was just lucky and patient enough to make it to the end. Most people never get that chance.